Welcome, everybody, to my podcast. I am Jim Mazziotti. I'm a 33-year veteran. I used to be 32, but with the new year, I'm a 33-year veteran in the real estate business. And I want to welcome you to my Senior to Seniors podcast, where I dive into the stories of seniors, explore their unique experiences, discuss the real issues facing seniors today, and introduce you to those assisting seniors in their senior journey. I have the privilege to talk with some of the most interesting people in the world impacting the senior community today. And this morning, while I'm recording this, I have the pleasure to do just that with Heather Dawson. And so, welcome, Heather. I'm glad you're here.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here today and answer any questions you have about what we're doing to help seniors with downsizing and navigating those things they're not quite sure, what to do with.
Yeah, and you're not only helping seniors, but you're helping just about anybody that needs help with the move process. And you do it in a very unique way. So let me just, don't want to embarrass you, but I just want to tell the audience just a little bit about you that Heather Dawson's a results-driven sales professional, and she has extensive expertise in re-commerce, auctions, downsizing, and real estate sales. Heather has experience in both sales and operations. Her breadth of knowledge allows for a well rounded perspective that combines innovation, problem solving, and deep industry insight. In addition to her proficiency in sales and auctions, Heather has a strong background as a professional organizer, specializing in downsizing projects for clients in transitioning or seeking to streamline their possessions. This specialization enables Heather to guide individuals and families through complex processes, providing practical solutions and maximizing the value of their assets. As a licensed auctioneer and a graduate of the ISA core course in appraisal studies, Heather Dawson possesses a comprehensive skill set that includes valuations, consultative sales, and the management of high value asset transactions. She's dedicated to helping businesses and individuals unlock value through strategic sales solutions, partnerships, and expertly managed downsizing transitions. Heather consistently builds relationships, develops business opportunities, and ensures the best possible outcomes for all parties involved in the sales of their possessions. So, again, welcome, Heather. So, just to start off, why don't you tell us about MaxSOLD and what MaxSOLD is? And before you do that, I'm sorry, I just want to let the audience know how I was introduced to you. In October, I attended something called the Senior Home Coach Equip Conference in Wichita, Kansas. And that's where I heard about Heather, heard from Heather, and about MaxSOLD. And I have to say, Heather, I had never heard of MaxSOLD until then. And I'm so glad I did because downsizing is such a huge issue. Again, not only for seniors, but for so many people. So, again, tell us about MaxSOLD and maybe tell us a little more about yourself that I failed to cover.
Uh, Thank you for that introduction. That was a very generous and kind introduction. I really appreciate it. You shared everything I could possibly imagine to share. Max Sold is a fantastic solution for really anybody that needs to sell. A volume of goods, and we work with a lot of people that just, are downsizing and can't keep everything in their home. And then, of course, estates where you need to sell everything inside of an estate because perhaps somebody's passed and you need to liquidate the items inside of the home. So MaxSOLD is throughout, it's a Canadian company based out of the Toronto area. It's in several provinces in Canada and throughout the United States of America. So it is a North American wide international company. And basically we run sales like tag sales or estate sales as auctions on our online platform.
Hmm.
And we have an app that we have developed that is very intuitive, very user friendly, that anybody can use. So MaxSOLD partners with professionals such as realtors, senior home coaches, professional organizers, senior move managers, appraisers, estate sale companies that want to use our app and our platform to leverage a way to sell items for their clients. And there are also people that simply leverage our app themselves to help their families sell items. So we make it very easy for anybody to use. In fact, we're rolling out an AI integration this month where when you start taking your pictures of the things you need to sell in our app, it'll auto-populate titles and descriptions for you, which helps the process move along even faster and more efficiently.
Yeah. And so you're everywhere in the United States, or tell me where you're at or how people work with you. How available are you, Heather, and Max Sold?
MaxSOLD is very available. Anybody within the US and Canada is welcome to leverage our platform to sell their assets, their items.
Okay.
So, we do have a lot of support to help people get started or to help people run their sale. So, you'll speak to somebody in our customer success department, perhaps. You'll have a seller support agent who is there for you to assist with any technical questions that you have. So, we do a lot of the hand holding when people first get rolling with running a sale on our platform. But anybody anywhere really is welcome to leverage
Okay.
our resource.
So give me an example how Max Sold, how the process works from start to finish. So let's just say today I called you, was fortunate enough to get you. What is the process from start to finish?
Okay, so from start to finish, let's say you called me and you said, I would like to put a sale together. My aunt passed away, and my brother and sister and I want to go in there and sell all the items in her house. Okay, hypothetical situation.
Hmm.
We would get you familiar with our app, and you guys would download the app onto whatever smart device you have, and you'd go in and start taking pictures of the items that you need to have sold. You will be doing what's called creating auction lots in the app.
Okay.
So an auction lot can be one thing, like a couch or a lawnmower. It can also be a bundle of items, like a set of sterling silver flatware, or a box of tools, or all of your aunt's sewing supplies gathered together as one boxed bundle. So you would decide really kind of on what the value of the items are, how you want to create your auction lots. And you use our app to take the photos. And in that app, you'll have the photos, titles for your auction lots, descriptions, and then you submit it to our website when you're done. And we will give you a portal to log in through so you can see the draft for the auction catalog that you just crafted. You'll be able to edit in there if you would like to. You will control the timeline of your sale, meaning you decide the day that you want it to launch and be live as its own sale on our website, and the day that you want it to end. Generally, people run their sales 7 to 10 days long.
Okay.
Um, We will be advertising the sale for you. We advertise to the local market of buyers through various venues. We have search engine optimization in place on Google as well. We blast out direct emailings to let people know that your sale is up and live in their area. We manage all the communication with the interested bidders. At the end, we collect all the payments from those bidders for you, and we will send you a report that says everything that's sold and what it sold for. And we will tell you who each winning bidder is, what they purchased, confirmation that they've paid, and the time frame that they're coming to pick up their item on a pickup day. And you would host that pickup day. So if it's, your aunt's full estate, then perhaps it's on a Saturday from 9 to 2, and you guys just want to be there to greet people when they show up to pick up the items. You won't have to collect any payments. They'll show proof that they've paid. All of our buyers sign off on terms and conditions when they register to bid.
Mhm.
So they know that they have to come on this day within this time frame, and that they must have the item already paid for, and the expectations of the safe removal of the items during that time frame. So the whole process is really about 2 weeks long. It can happen very quickly. You control the time frame. And that's pretty much it from start to finish. And then we issue the sale proceeds out to you. We could do direct deposit or send it out in a check.
Sounds lickety split. Sounds pretty easily, actually. So tell me, how do you handle, or how does the seller handle the valuation of the items that they're going to put in the auction?
So understanding the value of them.
Yes.
So that's the beautiful thing about running an auction. An auction commands market value from the interested buyer market.
And
So
sometimes, not to interrupt you, but I've done home auctions, and what I found is that a lot of times the auction process actually brings more value to an item because people know they're bidding against each other. Do you find that the same?
yes. So
Okay.
um, fostering competitive bidding is key in
Hmm.
crafting an auction. When somebody is putting an auction together, we're happy to support and navigate ways for them to do that. And of course, when you're in front of the interested market and you have them bidding against each other on the items they want, yeah, I mean, you can often bid beyond just the fair market value. We see it all the time. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So there's no fixed price. It's an auction. So we start everything at $1 and it goes from there. So we sell cars for thousands and we
Hmm.
start the bidding at $1. If you're in front of the market that wants the item, naturally they're going to bid it up to that fair market value or beyond.
Yeah. Yeah. And so the people, if I want to do this with you, I don't have to worry about, oh gosh, how do I price this? What price do I put on this? Because I could see where, especially for seniors and their families not knowing how to price things, that could be a real concern. But there's no need for that because it is just an auction. Whoever bids the most, right?
Right, right. There are things that you would want to know to disclose. So, for instance, if you're selling a set of flatware and it's sterling silver, you'll want to indicate that it's sterling silver, not simply plated or stainless steel. And we can assist with that. So, if somebody has a set of sterling flatware and they think it's sterling flatware and they want to ask us as they're taking their photos, we can certainly help and make sure they know what they're putting up there.
I'm wondering, do you ever put value estimates in? For instance, I have a collection of guitars, and some of the guitars are actually collector guitars, but to many people who would be looking, it's just a guitar, right? It's pretty or whatever. Do you ever put anything like that it's been appraised at $500. Is there anything like that to help guide people and not having very low bids?
So, with appraisals and valuations, there's a few things to keep in mind. One is, if you do have a very recent appraisal, maybe done in the past 6 months or 2 years, and you know that it is a fair market value evaluation, it's not for insurance, it's for
Hmm.
resale purposes, then you could perhaps mention that in the description of your item, or put some sort of photo in of that document so people are aware it exists.
Yeah, okay.
Um, but again, you need to be careful around, the purpose of the appraisal, how recent the appraisal was, how accurate the comps are. So these are things people need to be aware of. At the end of the day, when you put something in an auction and your descriptions are precise and accurate, so you've got a guitar, you're stating exactly who the maker is. If there's any interesting provenance, it's noted there. Um, you put in everything that needs to be known about serial numbers and such.
Yeah,
Then the people that seek out guitars and collect guitars are going to land on that sale, and they're going to see that guitar. They're going to know what that is, and they're going to understand the estimate of value that it has. And many of them will do their own market research
yeah,
to confirm the estimate of value on the items. So MaxSOLD is not going to provide an auction estimate on each item that is
right.
up for sale. Really, you see auction estimates. It's most useful, in my opinion, when you're looking at maybe one of those high tier auction houses, like perhaps Sotheby's London, right? And they've got
Yes.
an astronomical piece of art, and they need to put some sort of expectation auction estimate on it. But when you're selling, I think, collectibles, antiques, everyday desired brands out of homes, as long as you're in the market, you're going to get the collectors that know what they're looking at.
Okay. That makes total sense. So what are the typical costs for doing a process like this through MaxSold?
So MaxSOLD will take a percentage of the sale. So
Okay.
that's what will happen. So if you're going to sign a contract to put a sale together for your aunt's estate and run it on the MaxSOLD platform, you should expect that it'll be a 70-30 share. So MaxSOLD takes 30% of the sale proceeds, and 70% would go to you or to the estate.
Okay. And so that takes care of all the advertising, all of that kind of work. Basically, somebody just needs to organize it in a way that when people come with proof of purchase, that it is easily found, that it's easily identifiable, and is that item that they paid for in the house or wherever it might be, correct?
That's right. Yep, absolutely.
And so with this, people don't have to really, I'm just trying to visualize an auction. They don't have to take the stuff out of their house into the yard, worry about rain, weather, all of that stuff. They just need to have it so people can get into the house, identify the item, and leave with that item, right?
Right, absolutely. It's pretty simple. And if you're in a situation where you feel you can't possibly do this, you would need assistance with, taking the pictures of items that need to be sold, and assistance running a pickup day at the end. That's okay. We can connect you with partners that we have that regularly run these sales for their clients. So
Mhm.
MaxSold has relationships with organizations like National Association of Productivity and Organizing, where professional organizers in your area run MaxSold sales.
Hmm.
We could connect you with one of those organizers. They will, of course, have their fees for their time and labor, right, to
Okay.
take pictures and be on site and supervise a pickup day, but they are able to provide that service if you're not able to do that part. So we have solutions for you either way.
Okay. So what makes you so different from anybody else? And we're not here to advertise anybody else, but obviously this podcast is to provide information to people. But what makes MaxSOL different from other maybe online companies, if there are any online companies? I got to tell you, I'd never heard of one until, I heard about you in Wichita in October, but what makes you different from others?
MaxSOld does have a kind of a leveled up white glove concierge aspect to what we do. So there, of course, there are lots of competing platforms out there that you can sell your items through, right? Like everybody knows who eBay is. But what MaxSOld does is MaxSOld in the auction business, we call it cashiering the sale. So
Mm,
MaxSOld cashiers the entire process for you, meaning you don't have to collect any payments. MaxSOld, you don't even have to really navigate communications with the buyers or find them, of course, for that matter. MaxSOld is doing all of that for you. In addition to which, MaxSOld navigates the advertising for you as well. Many of
yeah.
the competitors out there are going to need you to do a fair amount of your own advertising.
Mm,
So the big one is that MaxSOld is the one that manages all sale processes. So that is a unique thing that we
hmm
do.
hmm And so tell me, what items are not allowed, if any, to be sold? I mean, if people are, looking throughout their house and thinking, is this something that's appropriate for an auction or allowed in an auction? What is auctionable and what is not auctionable?
So we do have a do not sell list. So
Okay.
items that would be considered animals that are endangered, certain types of taxidermy. It can vary a little bit by state or province, but
Mm,
in certain furs, like a leopard coat would be considered endangered.
mm,
You can't put that on an auction platform today. Ivory, of course, you can't sell ivory today. Um, Maxwell doesn't have a liquor license, so if you have a fine wine collection, we wouldn't be able to put that on our platform. We don't have a firearms license as well. So,
okay.
um, trying to think what else. Those are the main things to keep in mind. There are items that are like high-end fashion, like Louis Vuitton, that has so many fakes out there that
hmm
pretend to be authentic, that Maxsold, like most of the other platforms out there, are very cautious about what we allow sold. So things like that, you'd probably need proof of authentication on, some sort of purchase receipt or some way to authenticate the item. But those are for those very select luxury items that every platform today is being cautious about.
Yeah. So I work with mostly seniors, and of course, I want to make it clear that MaxSOLD is not just for seniors, but in my market, that's what I do. What advice would you give to seniors in if they're considering using MaxSOLD for the selling of this, and maybe being overwhelmed? What advice can you give a senior? Because many times I find that they're in a situation that they don't want to let go of all their stuff, right? This is a lot of stuff that they've had forever, and they hate to let it go. Is there any advice that you might give seniors about the overwhelm and the process?
Yes. So, when you're starting a big downsizing project, and of course, there's so much more that goes into it than just letting go of items. It's, as you know, Jim, it's letting go of a home, right? Sometimes a home that somebody's been in for decades and decades and holds decades of cherished memories in. So, my advice is to start early, navigating what you're going to do with the things that you know you need to let go of. because, of course, selling items is just one of the ways that we let go of items.
Hmm.
So start early on. If you have questions around significant value of items, put those questions out there early on. There are appraisers that can come out and just do a consult appointment with you and let you know roughly whether or not you have something that maybe yields a high amount of value or isn't something that warrants an appraisal. um, Start those little, because the big project, as you know, has so many little projects in it, right? So
Yeah.
navigating how to let go of items is, you know, a big project within the overall project with little projects within it. So start early and start planning. And then, you know, educating yourself about how things perform in the market is helpful. So pretty much everybody who is doing a big downsizing project has a dining room set to sell.
Yeah.
Particularly if they're letting go of a home, a large home, and they're moving into a smaller apartment, or a smaller townhouse. A lot of the times they're letting go of their dining room sets. Dining room sets are one of those things that don't yield very much return today in the market compared to what they did 25 years ago.
Hmm.
So preparing yourself for that is important because you will have items that you have an emotional value attached to
Sure.
that may not translate to an equivalent monetary value today. So that's one thing to keep in mind. We find that, and it's been this way for about 15 years at least. The big dark hardwood furniture isn't commanding good resale value like it did in the 90s. Um, Things that are commanding great resale value still is anything mid-century modern. So that streamlined Danish look with the tapered legs, if you have designer mid-century modern 1960s furniture, furniture with the raised peg legs, those items command collector value today. So doing a little investigation and learning a bit about items like that will help you. Here at MaxSOLD, we do host an Ask an Expert webinar series that's
Mm.
free, where we every month have a recorded webinar, so we can always share the recording, where we have somebody present on topics within the downsizing market. That's a great way to kind of stay abreast on what's happening, what's trending, what you can expect when you're trying to let go of items in your home.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm guessing not everything's going to sell. You're going to have things that may not sell. What happens with those things? Or,
So MaxSOLD is designed to provide a 95% sell-through rate in your
okay.
sales. So part of the reason why our sell-through rate is so high is because we don't put reserves, minimums, starting prices on anything. So when you start everything at $1 and go from there, yes, the items that hold higher market value, like a car, are going to, of course, sell for thousands, not a dollar.
Hmm.
But the items that are very hard to get out of the house and rehome will have a better likelihood of being rehomed. So if you can take that very large TV armoire from 1992
Yeah.
that just doesn't command much interest at all in the market today, and get that sold for $5 to somebody that has a repurposing project in mind, well, now you have avoided a $100 junk removal fee and offset cost, right? So in the
Yes.
end, it sold for 5, but you just kept $95, right?
Hmm.
So part of the strategy of starting things at a dollar is to really ensure that you have that high sell-through rate so that you're left with very little. If you are left with anything in the end and you still own that item, you can dispose of it, donate it, keep it, and do what you wish.
Sure. So I'm sure you have some stories about how MaxSOLD has benefited people. Obviously, that's what you do. Can you think of a particular story of how MaxSOLD came to the rescue, that you put your cape on and you came and actually saved the day for the people that were selling? Can you think of anything like that, Heather?
Save the day. Well, I can tell you that families and their realtors do come to us and are sometimes a little anxious about how they're going to possibly get everything out of the house that needs to get out of the house
Yeah,
and sold in the timeline that they really need to get it done by. So we do see time and time again this disbelief that it can't possibly happen within the month. And then, it always does. So, we provide a solution that is timely and efficient to get everything done. So, we see that happen a lot. We have a timeline to meet. Oh my goodness, how are we going to do this? And then it gets done within the timeline
yeah,
because of the process and the method that MaxSOLD provides, the high sell-through rate, um, the fast and efficient turnaround for getting things photographed and on the site. So I think that's the big thing.
sure. So I know people that are watching this are going to want to know how to get a hold of you. And of course, I will have it in the notes on the podcast, which will be both on YouTube and will be on my on Apple and Spotify and so forth. But while you're here, if somebody has a pencil and paper and they want to get to you right away, what's the best way for them to get a hold of you? Would they be talking to you, or will they be talking to one of your many associates that work for your company?
They're welcome to call me directly. My direct line at MaxSOLD, I can share that phone number. It's 470-206-0211.
Okay.
My email is heather.dawson@maxsold.com.
Okay. 470-206-0211 is the phone number. So as we finalize our conversation together, Heather, what things did I leave out? What things would you like this audience to know that I failed to mention?
I think you were very thorough. I can't think of anything that I don't think we covered. I think we really did cover everything. I guess one thing to tell people about in regards to MaxSOLD and how it operates when it's up on the site and your sale is live as an auction. We do provide something, it's called a soft close for the end of your sale. And that means that when somebody jumps in at the very last second to put down their bid and try and win the item,
Hmm.
MaxSOLD will extend the sale another 2 minutes to give
Okay.
everybody an opportunity to continue bidding. MaxSOLD doesn't want kind of that type of scenario. They want to make sure the bidding is authentic and complete.
So people are able to see it's actually pops up with what the last bid was, so they have a couple minutes to reflect on it and then to strategize what they want to do next, huh?
Yeah, so bidders will be following their items at the end, and if they see another bid come in the last 30 seconds, they know that MaxSOLD will push the sale another 2 minutes, so they have a chance to bid against it if they wish.
Great. Well, Heather, thank you so much for spending time with me. When I went to this conference and heard, the presentation from you and your company, I knew it was something that I needed to tell people. I needed to make sure people knew was available to them, and of course knew that it was available to me because I've been in a situation where we didn't know what to do. And many times with seniors, decisions to move happen very quickly. Many times they're in crisis mode. The decision to move isn't one they wanted to, but it was necessitated by, a health concern or a fall or something that was catastrophic. And so I think this is going to be very helpful, knowing that there's a company like yours and a person like you that can help people through this process to have success with being able to downsize and or get their items sold so they can move on with that next part of their life. So I'm so appreciative to you and your company. And hang on the line for a minute as we fade out here. And again, to get a hold of Heather, she's at 470-206-0211. Reflect to the notes that I'll leave in this, and I know Heather will help you in any way that she can. Um, Awesome company. You're an awesome person. So I appreciate you joining me from South Carolina today, and we'll talk soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jim.
Have a great day.
You too.